What up? What up? What up?
Hola, what it do? All of our lovelies out there in the world, misguided hoes. Welcome back to Like I Was Saying podcast, with
your girl, Fee Baby, and it's
Velvet. Yay!
Yes, guys, welcome to another episode. Hoping that you are getting through the week, you're pushing through, that we are helping you, that you are figuring out if this week is trying you, who you can reach out to help you get through it. Yes. So, thank you for the new listeners, the reoccurring, the loyal from day one.
All of them.
Thank you. So, we're just going to go ahead and just kind of
get into the thing.
Talk that talk.
Yeah.
How's your week been? Can we talk about our listeners? How's your week been?
Something.
Yeah?
No. It's been okay. Weekend was good. I shaved my head.
Look, guys! She's missing some hair.
Got my hair done, shaved it. Excited to take these out so my hair is really curly.
Let's not leave that. So prior to shaving that piece, all of your hair was one length. And you were dreaded up as our viewers. Dreadlocked, does it matter for you? Okay. So you have dread sister locks. How did that feel, you shaving off that portion?
When she first cut the first one, I was like, oh my God, you really did it. Oh my God. And she was like, shut the fuck up. And I was like, you're right. But still, oh my God. She told me to put the camera, because I was like looking at it, recording. And she said, put the camera down, stop looking at me. So I had to put it down, because otherwise I really would have been like, oh my God, the whole time. But overall, I've been thinking about this for like a year and a half. And then I kept saying, no, I'm not going to do it. And I just kept going back and forth. And then while I was in there, she was doing my hair. I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to cut it. And then I sent the picture to a bunch of people. And at that time, I really had already made the decision that I was going to cut it. People... But I really wasn't sure how far I wanted it.
Right.
So that was like what I was sending for. Because I was like, do I want like a little bit, like a little line? Or do I want like a whole thing? And then I like told her, so she like redid my hair, and then she was like, all right, which part, so I can, finish up. And I was like, I don't know, let's look at it. So then like we had this like covered, and we were trying to figure out how far I wanted it, and I was like, all right, just do it. And so she did, and I was like, all right. And then I went to Mo, the female barber. She's in Virginia Beach.
Shout out.
Yeah. She does one of my friends' hair. And so she like did a little, shape up thing, makes your thing look nice.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to go back probably Friday or Saturday to get a design.
Oh, what type of design would, like, just kind of freestyles or a specific style?
Probably just freestyle, because I really don't know.
How long have you been locked for?
Since 2016.
Good 5 years. I like that a lot. Because locks are a big commitment. I mean, it's definitely not, regular for anyone who, is cutting their hair in general to kind of shave it down. But I feel like locks is a whole different type of commitment to cut off.
Yeah. And when it got cut, like I really was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did it. But then I was like, oh, it's not bad. And so the girl that does my hair, she cut hers either last year or the beginning of this year. And like she cut a little bit of it, and then she was like, I really like it. And then she started cutting more, and she ended up being bald. And she was like, it just felt so freeing. I just didn't even know what to do. And I was like, that will never be me. I am not going to cut off all my hair.
I have a friend who, like, experiments in all different ways. Like, she hasn't had, like, I guess you'd say hair in years. But, like, she colors it, designs it, all types of stuff like that. Wasn't her at all prior to, like, had a head full of hair for the longest time. And I would say for the last, like, maybe 3-4 years has been pretty bald cut with the colors and the designs. So we'll see what happens with Velvet. Look,
Yeah.
it just keeps his little bigs. I definitely think it suits you. I think it accentuates.
It's definitely
I think it fits you.
interesting because every time I'm like, oh, I don't have the hair, and then my dog.
You try to like your head
yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
You gotta balance out your head weight.
And then my dog didn't like my hair apparently, and I don't think I told you. Did I tell you?
No.
Yeah, we was playing. I was going to pick up my son from his dad's house. We were playing around. I bent down. He jumped up, grabbed. You see this? It's not one lock, y'all. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to make it where you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one lock. These are several tiny locks, at least probably 6 into one. He jumps up, grabs it, and rips it. So I have a little bitty bald spot right here. But you can't see it because this covers it. And I said, I'm glad, it's on this side that I did that. I looked at T'Challa and I said, are you fucking serious? And I think he could feel the emotion in me. He looked at me with like sad eyes. And I said, car. And get in the car. And then, so sometimes he'll like sit in the back and he'll like lay his head on my shoulder. Mm-hmm. He tried to do that. And I said, get away from me. Get away from me. Get away, because you're too close to my hair. I don't. Get away right now. Get away. And my son was like, "You want me to keep him back here?" Yes, because otherwise I'm gonna throw him out the window right now. I'm gonna throw him out the window. And I came home and I just kept looking at it. I was like, "Oh my God, it's all."
Oh. Well, at least all of your locks are on that side.
Do you understand? That's why I said that's a good thing. Oh my God, I was so upset. Oh, and then me and my sister, the one above me and the one below me went to go get a piercing. I got my second nose piercing.
How are you just touching your nose like that, dear?
I don't really feel it.
I feel like when we got ours done together, I feel like mine was so sensitive. And like you're just touching that shit like.
Yeah, that's not bad. Mm-mm.
Okay.
And my sister got the septum.
The septum?
Mm-hmm.
Was it above, below?
What does that mean?
The sister.
Oh, the one above. I was like, what do you?
Oh, the
up here?
Sister.
No, I thought you meant like above. Like, what does that mean?
She's got like a little.
Yeah, I was like, what you mean?
Implant?
I didn't know that was a thing, so that's why I was like, no. Yeah, the one above me. The one below me wanted the. I think you have it. Let me see.
This one?
I can't. Your hair's in the way. No, the one that's like a bar. What's that called?
Oh, the industrial bar.
Yeah, she wanted that, but apparently her ears are too small or something.
You gotta be careful with that. One of my sisters got that done, and one of them ripped out her ear because her ear was too small for it.
Yeah. I would have sued. Cause y'all supposed to tell me, because she went there to get it, and the dude was like, "You're not able to get it because your ear." So why wouldn't? But I guess there's no way you get it done.
Yeah.
So and so she was sad about that, and then she was like, "All right, well, what else is she trying to get?" She wanted to do her cheek, which I was like
the dimples.
Yeah. And then she had thought about here.
Oh, okay, like an implant one.
And then she was like eyebrow, but then she really couldn't pinpoint it. So I really think she just wanted industrial, and so she just didn't end up getting anything.
Aww. Well, I would think like the lip one, but not like a.
So
like
that was
ring.
it. There we go. That was it. So she did want that one. That was the second one. I forgot about that. But she has a vein right there, and she can't get it. And I said, apparently they meant for you to have none, baby. And that's when she started going, all right, what about my eye? What about this? And then she couldn't. But the industrial was the first one, and then the lip was the second one. But she has like a big vein right there, and she couldn't get it.
I didn't think about that. I've never thought about how that might
affect it.
Affect
I wonder if I got one, but I don't know.
Dang, that sucks.
Yeah, so she didn't get one, and then we went to Five Guys after, so my older one paid for her food and make her feel better.
What a good big sister.
Whatever, I'm the one to pay for the fucking piercing. I was going to pay for hers.
What a good you.
I was going to pay for hers, but she didn't get it, and I said, oh, that's sad. She was like, well, give me the money for it. I said, no, I said I was going to pay for a piercing.
Yeah, it's not,
not the same.
It's not.
And I was like, why don't you get these done? She said, because I already had it done, and I don't ever wear earrings. And I was like, all right, well, I don't know what to tell you.
I had that done at a point, too.
That's why I have this, because there's no need for me to take it out until I want to wear something different. This is cute. So these, I take out all the time. But also, I can't wear fake jewelry. So, like, literally, it could be in my ears for about 5 minutes, and then my ears are literally on fire. It is terrible.
I was like that when I was younger, but I grew out of that allergy.
Yeah, no. So even like my belly, all of my piercings, all of them have to be, what is it, titanium? I think is, yeah. I can't do anything else. It will literally fuck me up. I think that's what happened with my nipple piercings, because I don't think they were. And at the time, I really didn't know that I was. I know my sister was, and so I was like, well, that's her. But I think because they weren't, it like my boobs just like, nah, bitch, and just pushed that shit out.
Rejected that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, we don't like it. We don't like it at all. So yeah, but yeah. So I got a piercing, got my hair cut, and so I told one of the girls at my job, Jay, she was like, "What transformation are you going through?" And I was like, "Nothing. I just told myself that from here on out, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm going to, instead of second guessing stuff, just this is what it is and do it, and then, you know, go from there."
I like that. I like that a lot. I definitely feel like, specifically because we have so much more ability to change our appearance than men, anytime that we decide to change any part of our appearance, there's a question like, are you going through something? Is there a change? Is there this? Is there that? And it's like, no, like, I have the ability to express freely who I am. And all things about me are malleable. They're I can change them. So like nothing about what I'm doing is permanent. Yeah. And even if it is, it's not, you know, something that has to be judged based on, are you okay? Are you going through something? It's just it's an expression of yourself.
Yeah. You know, I don't think she was meaning that way. She just said, usually when women cut their hair, it's some type of transformation you're going through within yourself. Not meaning outside factors, but just like, all right.
Usually, yeah.
It's something, you know. And I was like, well, maybe. And I said, I guess so, because I'm just getting to the point. I feel like I'm too old to do anything other than that. I'm going to go after what I want. And, you know, if you don't give me what I want, you can go to the side.
Yeah, I like that. You want it, you do it, and it's yours. Like I said, even if it was, but it's not a permanent thing. You have the ability to change, control. If you want to take the piercing out, you can. If you want to grow your hair back, you can do so. Apparently, you kept your locks, so
absolutely.
Any reason this don't work out, you can reattach them.
If I decide to do so.
Exactly. So it's just a freedom of expression, and I think that women specifically are so much more homed in on when we do those changes. When you cut your hair.
Yeah, especially cut, because they're like, oh, that's interesting. Especially because, you know, most women back in the day, you need to have long hair. So when you have short hair, it's like, that's interesting. Why?
Usually people want to attribute it to like a relationship.
Or you're now a lesbian. That's what a lot of them used to say. Oh, you cut your hair, you must like women now. No, bitch, I just want a short haircut. Like, what is that? Why do they have to go together? Yeah. That doesn't make no sense. They're not mutually exclusive. That don't make no sense. Yeah, I just like my hair. I like it, or it's what I've wanted. So that's just what I'm gonna do. And you know, I don't care what people say for the most part anyway. So. Y'all can all suck my pussy lip. I wonder who's gonna take the second one, because you said lip, not lips. Oh, you know, the next person to talk shit. And y'all can both be down there at the same time. I got juicy ones. Yeah. I got a juicy juice. Cut myself on the back. But how was your weekend and shit? It was good. Saturday I started out, I took my baby girl Luna. She went to the groomers. Oh, that's fun. So she could have a nice, you know, she knows what a nice bath feels like, grooming. I was very pleased by that, so I picked her up. She had a very good report card. That she did very well. Yes, I was very proud of that. She came home with a very cute bandana on her neck. Aww. I was so happy about that. Saturday evening was the Millennium Tour. I went with my sister and my best friend. And what I will tell you from that experience, one, I have learned that I don't know if concerts are for me anymore. That'll be number one. Getting older, that possibly. They have to have a big draw. So
The Millennium Tour, this is the first one I went to. I didn't go to the first one that they had.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first one I went to. I was very impressed. I was very happy. They started very promptly at 8.
Okay.
I made sure to park as close to the exit
as possible. That's
as
important.
possible.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the first person that went on was Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
Loved him. He played a couple songs, even some that aren't very known to like a lot of people, and I was very pleased by that. After Sammy, I remember there was Soulja Boy.
I heard his was bad.
His wasn't too bad.
They said he was trying to play new music, and the apparently the DJ or something was screaming.
None of ours. None of ours. Mm-mm. The most recent one was the "She Make It Clap, Clap, Clap" song. But other than that, there wasn't anything else that like wasn't known. It was very much like a high school jam sesh for Soulja Boy. I know I'm missing Lloyd. Lloyd came on after Sammy, and then after Sammy was Soulja Boy. I think there might be someone else. Pretty Ricky came on after. Yeah, you know you weren't there.
It's because the girl that doesn't exercise, she went, and so she was telling me about it.
Yeah, I forgot all about Ying Yang Twins.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's what I would like to sing.
So it was Lloyd, and that I'm sorry, Sammy, Lloyd. I can't remember if Ying Yang Twins came out before or after Soulja Boy. I want to say it was Ying Yang Twins and then Soulja Boy, and then after that it was Ashanti. After Ashanti was Amarion.
Why are you looking at me when you said Ashanti?
No, I'm just trying to like. You're funny because I definitely thought about you during Baby.
Oh.
Baby. She was not like Ashanti, you guys, at all. Especially that song. But like, I really appreciated the nostalgia piece of it. Mm-hmm. Like, I really did like get into that piece. Now, as Amarion came in, I leaned into my best friend. I was like, hey, because you know, I saw Pretty Ricky. I was like, because Pretty Ricky blew it. Like, I loved their performance. Their dancing was cool. I was like, all right, B2K. Best friend was like, yeah, best friend, B2K's not coming on.
Yeah, they were only at the other.
Amarion stomped all that out when Lil Fizz did what he did. I said, oh, for real? Yeah. Because me, myself, and I did not know that when I brought my ass to this concert tonight.
Yeah, I didn't say it.
So Amarion came on, and me personally, I don't, at least for the concert that he was at, his individual songs did not carry the same energy as everybody else. It just didn't. So like when he came on, my energy was like very low.
You didn't play him in Chris Brown's song? Supposed to be.
He may have played that later. I left during. So it was supposed to be Amarion, and after Amarion was Bow Wow. For one, Bow Wow is not enough pull to make me want to like go through Amarion's and stay for Bow Wow's. Mm-hmm. We left mid Amarion's performance. And one of the only songs I really wanted to hear from Amarion was Distance.
I thought you were going to say, Ice.
No, he definitely played that. And another thing I feel like about Amarion is when he does choreography, it definitely feels very choreographed. Like it feels like 5, 6, 7, 8. Like it feels that. It doesn't feel like it just kind of like flows into it. Like you can tell he's got points he's hitting. I mean, he's good at dancing, but it's just like it just doesn't flow for me. Mm-hmm. But we left probably midway, and when I was leaving, he played Distance maybe 2.5 seconds, and then that was it. He went into another song. Mm. I was like over it. But by the time we left, so the concert started at 8. I feel like we left at like 11:30, 12. Like Amarion's set still wasn't done. Bow Wow hadn't come on. I was tired. I was exhausted. And to think, when we purchased these Millennium Tour tickets, they were initially purchased back in 2019. Mm-hmm. But the 2019 tour got canceled due to COVID. Mm-hmm. But also when we think about that is my sister and I, who came with me to the Millennium Tour concert, we purchased something in the water tickets. I was like, just these 3 little 4 hours have me tied. I could the Something in the Water tour, our festival was 3 days long. I could not imagine 3 full days of what I went through. Because those tickets were pretty hefty. I don't even want to lie about what the cost was for the festival, but those tickets were very hefty. And thinking about, even before it was canceled, thinking about planning for the festival, there was like 2 parts of planning. First, I tried to like figure out if there was somewhere we could stay.
Oh yeah, because from
near the beach. Near the beach,
expensive.
Everything was hiked up. So I was like, okay. At the time when I bought the tickets, I live out Hampton now. But at the time when I bought the tickets, I was living out Virginia Beach. So I was like, maybe I could do like an Uber. But I was like, that would be expensive. So 1, between it being an all-day festival. 2, between thinking about the price it would be to even like travel between where I was living to where it was.
Can you imagine now?
Now, even worse. So I was like, I didn't refund my tickets to the Millennium Tour, but I definitely refunded them to Something in the Water.
Mm-hmm.
In the water. And in retrospect, especially after experiencing what I did this Saturday of the Millennium Tour, I'm very thankful I did. I couldn't imagine going through a festival after just 3-4 hours of that. I was so exhausted by the time I got home. Like it would have to be something pretty heavy for me to want to go see. It would have to be like her. Hi, handsome. Hi. Podcast member honoree. Hello.
You can put one of these in your room.
But yeah, it would have to be something. It would have to be something like that in order for me to want to go. Yeah, because what we saw, I can't get with it.
Yeah.
So I think Sunday was my mom's birthday. Monday was mom's birthday. Sunday is when we celebrated it.
Mm-hmm.
So we had like a nice little gathering at the house for the family. We had a dinner for my mother.
What was y'all have?
We had mashed potatoes, corn, and fried pork chops.
Okay. I've been craving a fried pork chop. And the thing is, I don't like pork chop. The last time that I craved a pork chop, guess what?
I don't like the word last time and craving. I don't like those words combined.
But
especially with someone who's had a child. I don't like those words together.
But that's literally that's how that one. Yes, that's how. Yeah, I was like, I don't like no goddamn pork. I don't like pork chop. It is very rare that I would like, I want a pork chop. Very rare. And the only time I really ate them was when I was pregnant. Before I was pregnant, when I found out I was pregnant, so he loved pork chops. And then after that, I tried to eat it, and I was like, oh, no, oh. And then, so now, once in a while I do, so I was like, all right. And for some reason, like the other day, I really was like, what the fuck do I want a pork chop? So, yeah.
Yeah, my mom had mentioned it, and I haven't had one in forever.
Mm-hmm.
My mom makes the best fried pork chops, so obviously she didn't make it. This was her birthday.
I'm gonna say, dang, y'all rude.
So
y'all just have her out there cooking.
I battered it up and threw it in the fryer. My sister
in the air fryer.
flipped it. No.
Oh, and
legitimate
okay.
fried. Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I was like, are y'all putting things in the air fryer?
No, it was legitimate fried, and it was good. I haven't had a fried pork chop in forever.
And she didn't even bring a bitch one, y'all. You see how she do?
Yeah, lo siento. Nah. Yeah, that won't go make it out the house, sis.
That's fucked up.
That was not gonna make it out the house.
She offered me some chicken. I want no chicken. I'm just playing. I actually do want some wings, but yeah.
Wings are such a thing. So yeah, that was
the weekend.
That was the weekend. So we gonna go ahead and get in. So last week we were shooting the shit. A part of that was just because we need to shoot the shit.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta talk about shit. Get over talk it through.
A part of that was because there's been something in the entertainment sphere that has been brewing, but I was very hesitant to like even want to speak on it Well, hello. Oh, you guys can't. Oh, you see the pause. I was very hesitant to. We always shoot the shit. Literally.
Because the dog, damn it, T'Challa.
That's just how. Well.
What is you doing? You're heavy-handed. Leave it alone.
Woo! But yes.
Mm-hmm,
So again, last week was just shooting the shit, but also didn't want to. So with the Travis Scott Festival thing, there was a lot of information that was coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to speak too soon with at least having
more information,
a breather to allow information to really come in about a numerous of things.
Yeah.
So at the time, at the date of the first day of the festival, 8 people had been officially pronounced dead.
Mm.
Since that has occurred, there's been a young lady in her early 20s, that was pronounced brain dead. They had her on life support. They took her off life support. So she made number 9. And then there was a 9-year-old who was in a coma who has now been pronounced dead. So now there are 10 people who have unfortunately passed away as a result of the Astroworld festival.
That's it.
So now that more information has come in, so again, a festival is something that is all day. It is not like a concert, how I went at 8 p.m., it ended at 12 a.m., 1 a.m., whatever time it actually ended. A festival starts from the a.m. to the p.m. So this festival people started accessing lines around 8 a.m. 9 a.m. is when police started, before gates officially opened, started radioing for riot gear in response to the crowd they were already experiencing at 9 a.m. So that's a first indicator that they were already experiencing an overwhelming amount of force by the people who were patroning the festival. Number 1. So, and a reminder, this is 9 a.m. Travis Scott doesn't go on until like 9 p.m. So people are already showing a great presence at 9 a.m. that worry the people who are there to ensure the safety of others. So fast forward to 9 p.m. is when Travis comes on. This like stampede of people happen where people begin to trample over one another.
So they're trying to get to the stage. Like, where's the trampling occurring?
There's like a confliction because there are some people who are saying people who didn't have tickets are bum rushing the area, the festival in general. There are people who are saying there are people who are bum rushing VIP.
I heard that one.
Or people who are trying to escape to VIP in order to escape from the pandemonium that's going on. But nonetheless, there is like a stampede of people. And they trample over others. There are apparently like, right before like the fatalities happened, there were like 11 calls for a cardiac arrest to responders in the area. And apparently where this stampede was happening was a great distance away from where medical help was. So, like, the vicinity to even get the help they needed, they were not
nowhere near
in a good, like, So, a lot of people, by default, because they're there for Travis Scott, and because it was Travis Scott was the main performer, automatically look to Travis Scott to be like, you.
But y'all knew that whole shit was going on since 9 a.m. Y'all should have shut that shit down.
So there's that piece. So I also read that there are 2 people who are allowed to call off a performance when things go awry. One of which is not the performer. And so also take in perspective, because I've read a lot of articles that saying even after what was going on, Travis plus Drake kept performing. So, and I've heard even way before Travis Scott's situation, comedians that I follow say that you can only see so many feet in front of you because the
quite
lights
sure.
that come down from you, the darkness in front of you.
You probably don't even know what's going on.
So,
if you hear screaming, you think they're screaming for you.
Exactly. It's very hard to, decipher between the two. So I do think it's unfair to say like Travis Scott continued to perform with XYZ happening because, there have been plenty of people who they said like Adele, SZA, there's Cat Williams, a whole bunch of people who they have said like there were certain performances that they had, and when they saw someone was in distress, they called like everything off to, ask for assistance. So for one, I think all of those settings are very different than a Travis Scott performance first and foremost. Because I think Travis Scott attempts to merge like the rap hip hop with like a metal feel. So it's kind of like, if you will, high energy mosh pit. Like it's very high energy, which is very different than all the people who they try to compare him against. You're not going to see that in a SZA concert. You're not going to see a Cat Williams comedy show. You're not going to see that in an Adele concert. Like they all, for people who passed out, which everyone's able to stop and like say around like this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Versus these high energy concerts where everyone's bouncing around.
Yeah.
So I think one, as you mentioned, you looked at the security, to the people who were hired to protect.
Y'all didn't do your job.
But then you also look to the people who employed that security and the number of security people who were employed.
Correct.
So that's also...
And the people that's supposed to call it off, who are those people?
I can't, so that's the part that I read this like maybe a week or so ago. I wish I could recall. It is one person who's an extension of Travis, one of his people on his team, and there's someone else. Now, mind you, the event people who are putting on Travis Scott's Astroworld. So Astroworld is a festival created by Travis Scott. Live Nation is the event coordinator. Live Nation is Jay-Z's event company. Which is interesting because I think Travis Scott may be someone under Jay-Z as well. So you have like those layers of relationships in addition to that. So one, obviously, there's going to be an insurance piece there because there's liability insurance, like they're going to file against that. But then you've had multiple people because Travis Scott already has 2 charges against him previously. I don't know if he was convicted of them, but at least 2 that were brought against him for inciting like a disturbance, if you will, or a riot at his concerts. Now, what's interesting is that how does this compare to heavy metal concerts, mosh pits? How does that compare? Now, while I would believe for the most part, I worked some many articles that were quoting deaths that may have occurred through some type of acts of either violence or excitement. There haven't been any in years, but how does that compare? Because you do have the mosh pits of the heavy metal concerts that, expect, and there's an assumption of that type of
party
event energy within a certain area where there is injuries that can occur from. So how is that treated differently between a black man in the rap industry and then white men in the heavy metal industry? First and foremost, I don't know if it's different because of the type of injuries that have been sustained as a result of, but I'm not fully aware of what, because I think with the prior ones with Travis Scott that he was charged with, they were jumping over like barriers and stuff. So, and I think they were accusing him of encouraging.
Yeah, but in this one he didn't. So
right, so that's the difference.
He didn't know what was going on.
Right. So, but there have been hundreds of lawsuits that have been drawn against all of them. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out because, Travis Scott is very young.
Well, I hope it's not against him because he didn't do it. It needs to be against the security. It needs to be against the company that hosts it. So that would be Live Nation. So Live Nation, as the company that's hosting this event, even though the event is Travis Scott, that's his event, that's his name.
And
that
you have
doesn't
to
mean
prepare.
that he exactly. So if Live Nation is the company that has all of these people coming in, they also are supposed to make sure security is where it's supposed to be. That is Live Nation. That's not Travis Scott. Those are two
Right.
separate things. Travis Scott is the performer. This is his what you say it's called, his festival, but he is not the owner of Live Nation. He is not who does that. So whoever is supposed to be head of that is the one they're supposed to go after. And the security, if you know that you're at this type of event, you know approximately how many people are going to show up. Well, you should know exactly how many people, because guess what? There's tickets, but you have that many people. So from there, you need to decipher of how many fucking security people you need. And how
Right.
many you need at whatever area. If it's a big ass area, you need several fucking security. It's not just, oh, let me have one over here in the corner, one over there in the corner. Hell no. You know how many of them motherfucking people there? Absolutely
Right.
not. Especially with drinking and all other stuff. I'm quite sure there was drugs involved somewhere up in there. So no. So they did not do their job, and that's absolutely who I would be suing. Especially if my fucking 7-9-year-old child died.
I'm wondering if Jay-Z is going to protect or if he's going to put Travis
under the bus.
under the bus.
Huh, what do you think? I can
I
tell
don't
you what
know.
I think.
I can't see, I don't see Jay-Z putting him under the bus.
That's good.
Because he's been there for, like, Meek. He's been there. Now, again, it's not something that directly, there is a difference between, with Meek, it's not a direction, it's not direction that's going to impact Jay-Z.
Correct.
I don't see, especially because, one, Jay-Z is able, Live Nation, no one has presented, at this point, to my knowledge, presented a suit against Jay-Z. It's all against Live Nation, Astroworld, Travis Scott managers. So, my hope would be through Jay-Z's experience in the business and through how Jay-Z knows how to protect himself, to where he can still, at some point, distance himself from it, that he doesn't, I don't foresee Jay-Z throwing him under the bus. Sounds like you might have a different opinion. Do you think he might throw him to save him?
Yes, absolutely.
I think Jay-Z would be able, while at the end, to the public eye, because we all know, like, the public, like, the court of opinion is very different than, like, what fact is.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
I think Jay-Z would be able to prepare what may be lawfully the case and be able to separate it from, like, what the court of opinion will be.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, cut clear, this is who this is responsibility was. This is what wasn't their responsibility.
That's
Truthfully,
what's supposed to happen.
That's what my hope for Jay-Z is. And also trying to, so again, it's talking about the OGs putting younger people to game on things.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is for Jay-Z to say, this is where, this entity was supposed to do this entity was supposed to do that. This person's not responsible for this. Like, the artist is not responsible for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what my hope is. It is very unfortunate that this many lives have been lost.
Yeah. Or even just one. It's very sad.
Because I know many people, when initially reading the headlines, thought there was some type of mass casualty in the form of, like, gun shooting.
I didn't know what happened. When I heard that, I was like, what the heck? But the first thing I saw was this dude was recording, because he said that he was over by VIP, and he and then everything started happening. He was trying to help up, I think he said, like a 14-year-old, and I don't know if that 14-year-old died or not, but I think the 14-year-old did die, but the person in VIP apparently was like beating on the 14-year-old, telling him not to get in VIP, even though this whole thing was occurring. And I was like, what type of person would do that?
Mm-hmm.
But there are those people in the world. It's a fucking child.
Yeah.
They're trying to get away from all this crazy shit, and I think the child ended up dying. If I stopped listening to it, I said, I just can't right now. But yeah.
It's so between, like, I think it's so odd between what happened with Alec Baldwin in the shooting on set, and then between the lives lost at the Travis Scott Festival. It's kind of like, you stop for a moment, like, is this happening in our time?
Yes, it
Because
is.
you don't really think that those are something that should be occurring. within our time. One, because you think there are certain things in place that should prevent these things, and that we are sophisticated enough to be able to predict certain things that would spring out, especially because it's not like, for example, that mass shooting that happened in Las Vegas. That's something that's at a concert. That's something that's way different than like people stampeding
on
other people.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
And I
the
don't
craziest
understand.
part.
That's the part I really wish I could understand. Like, what started the stampede piece? Because you're saying there's several different stories. So like, were people trying to get in? People trying to get out? People trying? I just don't understand how it all just went to shit.
It's crazy because in my mind, regardless of, because both ways that we've discussed it potentially happening, whether it be people who didn't purchase tickets at all and went to bum rush in, or weren't part of VIP and bum rushed in my mind, at the end of it is either you purchased to be there or you didn't, and if you didn't, you're not entitled to be there.
Correct, and your ass will not be there.
Right.
So I'm suing your ass too. If you started it, well, obviously they're not going to be.
And that's the part that sucks, because the people who are truly responsible for igniting all this,
not even going to know who it is.
Not going to be held responsible. Yep. So, you know, anybody who is still fighting for their lives, you know,
we pray for you, and we hope that you have a speedy recovery.
Because if I'm not mistaken, the 9-year-old, at the time that this all happened, he was on his, right before this happened, he was on his father's shoulders watching the concert happen. And when all the stampede happened, he fell off his father's shoulders.
And oh my God, and as a father, I could only imagine.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. I just wouldn't even know what to do. Especially you right there. It's a different thing if you're not there. Obviously, you're still going to be upset. But being right there, and I'm quite sure he was trying to find them and shit.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. See?
Yeah, because
that's why the Lord only puts some of us in certain positions. Because you already know. I'm quite sure they probably check people. But a bitch would have had something on her. Somebody would have got cut for sure. Back the fuck up. Because, nah, not my child. Hell no. Oh man, I didn't know that he was on the oh my goodness. Oh, I'll pray for you too, sir.
That's a lot to hold on your heart, to know, you know, you brought your child there, and unfortunately, there's all these people who are either questioning like whether or not a child that age should be there. I don't think that's relevant.
It's not at all.
It's not
if that parent says, all right, my son or daughter can listen to music, that's up to that parent. We have no right to judge at all. My son definitely started listening to DMX at a younger age, and he loves DMX. DMX had some lessons. He may think that Travis Scott has lessons, or he may just think that the music good. A lot of kids listen to a bunch of stuff. Y'all was letting y'all's kids listen to Lil Nas X, but y'all apparently don't understand what the fuck he was talking about when he's talking about riding goddamn horses.
All the adultery and all that. So it's not for anybody to ever judge. It's
at all.
We just need to, again, just
pray. And I'm so sorry for all the
sympathy
people.
And empathy.
All of those things. I just. Oh my goodness. I didn't know that part.
Yep. So, as that continues, obviously we'll be discussing that, because I'm very interested to see who at the end ends up being legally responsible for that.
I hope it's the security, the people that should have called the stuff off in the morning time, the people that should have called it off later on when shit got crazy, and whoever did not do their job, and hiring the right amount of security.
Yeah, there's some pretty high-profile attorneys involved right now. I think the attorney who was involved, who is still currently involved with Breonna Taylor, if I'm not mistaken.
Where was this concert?
Also, I'm sorry?
Where was the concert? Like what state?
I'm gonna look it up, because it was Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. If I'm not mistaken, I know for a fact Breonna Taylor, but I know there was another murder, and it was a black man that he also represented, who is now representing families from the festival. Yeah. So, let's take a look, because Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, if I'm not mistaken, they weren't too far. I remember George Floyd not being murdered not too far away from another murder that recently happened. But I don't know if Astroworld, because they can only practice law in certain states. I want to say it was like it started with an M, whatever state it was.
Michigan.
I want to say. We're about to see. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm pulling it up now. Oh, it was in Texas.
Oh.
Yeah, if I'm looking at it correctly, it shows Texas. So maybe he has the ability to practice law in multiple states, because you can't just represent someone just because you're attorney.
Correct. You gotta have the correct license and all that. Astroworld 2021.
Oh yeah, Crump. Ben Crump. Ben Crump is the attorney who's representing a good portion of the victims from Astroworld. So, like I said, more as that comes along. So,
I guess we're gonna talk about other crazy shit. One of our faves we talk about a couple of times, DaBaby and Leigh. If y'all aren't up on game, it is now a known, even though we already knew, but a known thing that, the baby Leigh had is with DaBaby. DaBaby with DaBaby. And so, we kind of already knew it, but now it's out there in the world. And so apparently they've been living together, shacking up or whatever for like the last 3 months or since the baby been born. And over the weekend, some shit went down. And apparently, Leigh, was she arrested? Or was she arrested or just had to be removed?
So, DaBaby definitely called the police.
Correct.
On Dani. They got into, so the altercation started apparently because Dani had Plan B delivered to their home. Because she said, since you want to keep coming in me without responsibilities, and then had Plan B delivered to the house.
There's also,
at that point is when the video comes of her sitting on the bed feeding their daughter, and he's just like video recording her, and they go into it, and the next video that you see is the cops that are called on her. But she is there the next morning, so she may be removed that night, but if she is, she's there the next day.
That'd be happening.
So which does, but couple things to unpack, right? So in the video where he's recording her in the bed feeding their child, first of all, that is the first acknowledgement that he makes publicly
of the baby
being his. First and foremost. Second, Dani has been very specific in how she is showing her child, her and the baby's child, on social media. She really has not shown the baby at all on social media.
But we definitely saw the baby for the first time in the baby's arms.
So even before then, he shows a full span of the child. And they're arguing. You can tell it's very hostile. Like, she doesn't want to be filmed. They're talking. It's very combative. And then from there it goes to the video of her talking about him calling the police on her. And how she's lived with him for the past 3 months since the child has been born. That specific day, apparently, she made them dinner. She was asleep in the bed. He comes to the house and tells her she's got to go to a hotel, whatever, but they got to go. And that is when the police are called because she refuses to leave. And then it flips to the next day where he's recording her. And he calls Leigh while they're in the video together. He calls her nothing but a side piece. For the entire time they've been together. Never acknowledges that she was anything more, just calls her a side piece.
Usually men that do that are upset at something. You trying to belittle me, but bitch, she was all up in your video. And you was claiming her then.
Yeah.
We'll continue.
And then there's an additional video with him holding the baby on his own, cradling the child in his arms, talks about how he's going to raise this queen, but then also dishes
that Dani Leigh's family disowned her and her half-black child.
Yes.
What is Dani Leigh?
So, she's Dominican.
Okay.
Dani Leigh has stated previously that because she got in trouble, I think, when she said the Mellow Yellow, when she had the Mellow Yellow song, she stated that she was a portion, like either Afro-Latina or something to that effect. But she was disowned by her family for having a half-black child. So I want to take like from the top bottom. So for one, the baby had a child with Dani Leigh, right? So first off, who is really, so he calls, like, she states, like, you know, I fell in love with him, all this, blah, blah, blah. He states she's a side chick, blah, blah, blah. But y'all had a baby from this.
Correct.
So, does one of you hold more responsibility in the situation than the other does?
The mother.
You feel like the mother has more responsibility in the situation?
Like to take care of the child?
No, just the fact that you have both now brought a child into the world. Does one hold more responsibility in that than the other?
No, y'all both fuck each other.
Correct. Okay. So we're on the same there. So now that the child is here, because I feel like through, now mind you, I've never brought a child into this world. I have not gone through birthing or what it's like after having a child. You know, there's postpartum that comes after having a child. Dani definitely presented a very different person in these videos. Obviously, so because of what the baby put inside of his own videos, but just the person that Dani presented herself in these videos on her own when she was speaking to the people is a very different person than she provided previously. So, what type of responsibility do you think the baby has in that aspect with supporting the child that he brought into this world, but also supporting the woman that he brought the child into this world with after giving birth to their child?
Well, he definitely needs to support his child because it's your child. You know, y'all had sex and bam, there's a child. In relation to supporting her, do people do it? No. Should it be done? Yes, because ultimately the woman, majority of the time, even if y'all are married, like even if they were married, majority of the time the woman is the one that's taking care of the child. So in order for the child to grow up to be X, Y, and Z, LMNOP, whatever it is, healthy, all of those things, the mother also needs to be healthy, mentally stable. Because otherwise, the child may not be healthy or mentally stable. Or in some instances, if the mother has a certain type of postpartum or whatever it could be, that could lead to her killing herself and or child and or you. So it's a lot that goes into it. So yes, I believe that a man that helps to bring a child into this earth, regardless of how you and that woman are in a relationship, you need to support her because she ultimately is the one that's going to be raising said child.
Right. No, I definitely agree. I think that it takes two, and I think that regardless of what your relationship is, unfortunately, after you bring a child into the world, that you definitely need to be focused on, one, how the mother is adjusting to after having the child, what that relationship is with the child after she has the child. And I don't, because what is very disappointing, this is the first instance, and you also don't know, right, what happened behind the scenes. Correct. You don't know what conversation between the baby and Dani was prior to.
Correct.
You do know that once she became pregnant, their relationship
ended.
Very much dwindled. You didn't hear much at all from them at all. And she really didn't acknowledge her pregnancy until she was very much showing.
Mm-hmm.
So for this to be, for one, the first time that he acknowledges the baby,
Mm-hmm.
I would feel as if her being the mother, that's one, very hurtful.
Correct.
And for you to display our child in its full form is also very hurtful as well. So you acknowledge and you show full force to the world who my child is all at once in a very negative, very connotation and energy filled space.
Mm-hmm.
So then on top of that, compiled with, I understand what Dani Leigh went through with the Mellow Yellow song, with the privilege that she had, that she, when she made that song, whether she did or did not realize what privilege she had when she made that song and the backlash she got off of it, I think that is now compiling on top of her what she is going through with the baby. I feel like the baby should not be treating her the way that he is. And I feel like people are tsunamiing with, first of all, the baby's previous mother, I think her name's like Mimi, baby's mother, saying like, because stating that, you know, essentially stating like the Mellow Yellow, like that's not something that you should like be praising, that's something like takes away from other women, or as such, you know, essentially she is saying she got what she deserves, like that's karma for her. And there are a lot of other women who are not coming to support Dani, but honestly saying like what do you want? You pissed and you're eating where you lay type thing. And so she's not garnering the support that I feel like the baby is getting off scot-free, whereas Dani's getting more shit than the baby is based off his actions.
It's normally how that works.
It is. That absolutely is. I definitely don't think, and especially because the baby, whether, which it definitely would make sense, whether or not her family is or is not supportive of her because of her having a child that is now half black, I think that is even more of a reason why you should stand with the mother of your child versus isolating her and airing all her business. Because that means that's less support that she has now. Mind you, her mother and her sister at least have now, her sister is dispelled. Her mother just pretty much says like, I don't do this like media thing, like I'm here for my daughter XYZ. Whereas the sister was like, I've always been there for her, like through her baby shower, this, that, the third. It's very unfortunate to see that she seems like she's so alone. And there's no support at all for the baby, especially with a child that he helped bring into this world. And unfortunately, what you're seeing play out is what a lot of women experience in the non-celebrity world.
Correct.
It's very unfortunate to see that two people will bring a child into this world and one person will act as if they don't, the male usually, because there's really no other option because the one brought the child into the world. Mother can't pass along to the male. The mother assumes that responsibility for the kid. The male acts as if either one, the child doesn't exist, doesn't have responsibility to it, doesn't acknowledge its existence.
Correct.
And so the mother is left to deal with if there is postpartum, if there is learning how to mother for the first time,
stress,
provide for the child,
feeling unloved, feeling unwanted after having a child. It's a lot to go. It is a lot.
Because you saw she definitely was trying to portray like the post baby snapback type thing, and then it's also, you know, telling that in the videos that she posted after what she went through with the baby is very different from the Dani Leigh that she ever presented on social media ever before.
It's a lot that you go through. Your mental goes through a lot. The only positive is that you do come out stronger. It's going to take a lot. And there probably is, hopefully there is at least one person that she has that's by her side. Hopefully, and that way she can talk to him or her or whoever it is and have someone to speak to. If not, Dani, speak to a therapist. speak to someone. Don't hold it in, because otherwise the shit gonna blow up.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, as a mother, there are things that we have to just do. I don't even know how else to explain it. Unfortunately, men do, because they don't have to have the child, get to do whatever they want. You know, after the child is born, shit, while the child is baking in your belly, they get to do what they want. You don't. You gotta eat certain shit. You gotta take your vitamins. You gotta get enough sleep. You can't work too long. You have to do all of these things. Then you have said child, and you still are going through things emotionally. And you're like, I need a fucking break. But guess what? You don't get one.
Right.
You just don't. Unless you have that supporting partner.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, you probably still may not get as much as a break, but you still get something. You may be like, all right, boo, you're going to have to take these 8-hour shifts today, because I got to get my fucking sleep. Otherwise, I'm going to snap on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that she has someone supportive, not being a male, just a friend that is there to support her so that she can work through whatever's going on. Because I'm quite sure she's going through a lot, especially if the man of your child didn't even say nothing about the child until the child was born.
Yeah, and it sounds like, and here's another part that's pretty, like, kind of heartbreaking situation, is that it seems like for the last 3 months, while she gave birth to your child, she's taking care of your child and where you stay, she's also performing what may be considered wifely duties. So the same night, apparently, that all this transpired, she cooked you dinner. Like, you came home to her, from her take, she was home asleep, you came home, and you told her she had to leave, go to a hotel or something that night. After she made you dinner, and then went to sleep. It's very telling that the next day, after all this happened, he on social media called you a side chick. And apparently a song off his new album is about you.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
It's very upsetting to see what women do, and it's not to say that this never happens reverse, but more commonly, it does happen where a woman overextends herself for a male.
Amen, preach it.
And gives more. I was talking to my best friend, and she said something that just like
hit you.
Boom. She said, men will appreciate the creation and not the creator. And I feel like that is so, like, true. And it's so sad that, like, that child that they want to, like, boast and, like, claim as, like, either progeny to them or, like, the next king, next queen. But like,
he came from.
Will treat the mother like shit.
Yeah.
That is literally a part of me. And because it's a part of me, you will have to deal with me minimally for 18 years. But technically the rest of their lives.
Correct.
And for the fact that you don't respect me enough to treat me like a decent human being, when it's not, I feel like so many people put the responsibility off on the woman to say like, oh, she trapped him with a baby.
Sometimes them girls don't want a baby.
It takes two to make a child.
It does. And yes, and especially when she said, well, you came in me last night. I was just like, ooh, girl, birth control.
And while it takes two,
birth control condom.
It is
all of them.
Not the responsibility solely
on the woman.
And it's also not fair when a woman becomes pregnant to expect, even if y'all are not in the right place, for her to automatically choose an abortion. It's not fair.
Correct.
Because one, that may not be
what she wants. I definitely think that's supposed to be a conversation. I feel like that absolutely should be when you're fucking somebody on a consistent or I think really if you were messing with somebody more than one time, well really if you mess with someone one time, hopefully you're wearing a condom, because obviously you ain't messing with them. You don't know who that person is or whatever it could be. But if you are messing with someone consistently, that needs to be a conversation. Whether y'all are just fuck buddies, y'all are friends with benefits, y'all are dating, y'all in a relationship, I believe, me personally, that should be a conversation. Some people just don't like to have it because of religious whatever, but that's the reason why it should be that conversation. So then y'all take the right precautions. You should take the precautions regardless, but because some people like to be out there free willy-nilly and all that, whatever, that's perfectly fine. But a conversation should absolutely be had. If I'm talking to you and I'm like, all right, I'm going to say I'm the dude in this situation, all right, X, Y, and Z. If something was to happen and we slipped up, let's say we got drunk one night, we slipped up, and you was to end up pregnant, how would you want to handle that? Mm-hmm. That should be a conversation, because if her answer is different than my answer, that means we shouldn't be fucking around. Because I've already said, if I'm the dude and I'm like, I don't want children right now, then if instant, well, I don't want to say mistake, but if something was to occur and you said, well, I'm going to have the child regardless, then right there, that's a flag in the air, bitch. Don't do it.
Because we're not on the same common ground.
At all. Even if y'all don't want to be in a relationship, y'all still aren't on the same common ground if something was to happen. Anything can happen. A drunk night is right around the goddamn corner. Mm-hmm. Like, a drunk night, all day, I thought I put the condom on. No, you didn't.
Right.
And now I'm pregnant. So no. Those should be conversations. Mm-hmm. I have that with every person that I have sex with. Mm-hmm. So that we are on the same goddamn page.
Exactly.
Because if we're not, it is not meant for me. It's not meant for you. I hope you find whoever you is on that side, and you find whoever you on this side, because it's not for me. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Y'all need to have those conversations out there in the world. All you got to hope. All of it.
Yeah, because that someone trapped somebody with a baby, I'm over that conversation.
Facts.
Because that is one, that is harmful rhetoric towards women.
Correct.
To think that it's only women, one, who have the ability to make that decision. Mm-hmm. Yet it's our bodies, but that should be a conversation having prior to.
And men definitely be trapping women with babies.
They do.
They definitely be trapping. They be like, I love you. And mm-hmm. we gonna take care of this baby, and then boom, she pregnant, and guess what? The only motherfucker take care of the baby is the woman. Sorry, I keep interrupting. I really be trying to get...
and that's another thing also, and here's a big thing. It's one thing when you're dealing with someone who doesn't have kids, because I know I've heard that a lot of people change because I'm dealing predominantly and the people who I know to be pregnant, or with child, the side I'm hearing is the women. I'd love to hear from a men's side, but women specifically, when I'm hearing they become pregnant, the men change very much once they become pregnant. Because Dani said when she became pregnant, he no longer had interest in her. Mm-hmm. But Dani, he had children already. Mm-hmm. And he had a track record with them. So what I'm saying is, it's one thing to do with a man who doesn't have children, and you learn something different about them afterwards. But when you have a man who has children already, and there is a track record with him and how he has dealt with the mother of their children, mm-hmm. you need to pay attention to that. This whole entire "it won't be me" or "I'm the exception to the rule." Mm-hmm. Everyone does that, and there is why there is this attraction to these, just put like ain't shit, toxic, thug life like men. And what is it about women who, one, want to be the one person who could break a man?
That's just our nature.
Above all.
That's the majority of women's nature. Like, I think that's the majority of women's nature if they're taught that way. A lot of what women are taught is from their parents or their grandparents or what they physically saw. And if I saw my mom dealing with toxic ass men, I'm like, oh, okay, well, she dealt with it. She was happy majority of the time, but then he cheated, but then she took him back, and they still had a good life. So mm-hmm. that's something I could deal with. I could still have a good life. I just have to deal with him cheating. But my mom, it was okay for her. Is the things that you see, the things that you were told. So
you got to determine if you're going to rise above that, and be resilient against that, or if you're going to perpetrate
a lot of people
the narrative.
It's very hard when you're young and grow up in those situations. It's something you're used to. Just like when you are a heavyset person, it's something you have to transform out of. You have to have that willpower. That shit is a lot. As a person that has lost weight, even with help, that shit is a lot. Because sometimes I'm just like, fuck it, I want to eat a goddamn big ass burger, but you have to, or I want to eat some fucking ice cream. I want to have ice cream almost every day.
Right.
But you have to have that
To
willpower
break that pattern.
Yes, and it's very
The
fucking
generational
hard. Absolutely. And being part of a family, I've seen my mom be abused. I've seen a bunch of different stuff, and I had to realize at a certain age that I'm not dealing with that. But that's one thing. The abuse part is something I've never dealt with. I told people up front. Like,
But see, that's the thing. You saw those things. So that's the difference between, we're discussing like patterns. You saw that.
Yeah.
And you were able to be resilient enough to come.
But I have a
over
family
that.
member that also saw it. Then
But that's the thing, like, everyone sees that and thinks of it differently. Some of those
Correct.
think it's an okay, it's a normative thing,
Yeah.
and some of them understand that you can do differently.
Correct.
And there's better out there for you.
Yes, because ain't no motherfucker gonna hit me. That's
Right.
literally, as I said, a conversation about what happens with a child. That's one of also the conversations that I have, and I just let it be known: if you ever lay a motherfucking hand on me, you ain't gonna have no goddamn hand.
Right.
And I just let that be clear. And I've only been mushed one time. And guess what? That motherfucker never put their hands on me again. Never put their hands on me again. Because I think it's, men I feel like to test women as well. They like to see what their boundary is. And regardless, not even just talking about abuse, but in general. They just like to see, all right, what can I do? And where is her actual boundary?
Mm-hmm.
Which is ridiculous. Like, I feel like you should do the opposite. Like a lot of older men say, a happy wife, guess what? Is a happy goddamn life.
But that's also where we're talking about what we see and what we understand to be normal. It depends on what they've seen. It depends on what they've been through.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Everyone's fighting generational stuff, but you have to name those things.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that's not what you want for yourself.
Correct.
Overcome that shit.
Yes.
If you don't, you're doomed to repeat that shit.
True. And I overcome some of those things on a daily basis. Well, not overcome, but I battle those things on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Or a weekly basis. Like, all right, no,
that's
with
abusive relationships. That's
friendships.
That's, repeating a single
Dating.
motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's repeating friendships.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's everything in life. Everything in life is about looking at what it is and what you want differently.
Correct.
And if you repeat those, even within yourself, if you repeat those things,
yeah. And one day you'll probably hopefully be able to overcome it. Because like I said, it's taken me a while to get to a certain point. I used to mess with someone for several years, and that was very toxic for my life. But I was like, he's going to change. He will. Da da da. And guess what? He didn't.
Yeah.
Because, and what I hear a lot is, a man will only change, one, if he wants to, but just like a man will, I guess it really goes into our topic, a man will know who he wants to be with shortly after he meets her. It does not take 2, 3, 8 years for the man to determine that he wants to be with this woman. I would say at most 6 months. At most. At 6 months, I believe that the man knows if he wants to be with you long term. At 6 months, he absolutely knows if you is just his fuck buddy, if y'all are just cool friends, or he just gonna leave you in the pocket because he knows that you love him or whatever it could be, so he leaves you in there, and because he doesn't want to see you with somebody else, but he's also like, well, I'm gonna go out here and do my thing, and she loves me so much she'll stay, with me, and I'll just keep her in my pocket just in case life doesn't work out with all these other hoes out there. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that, motherfucker. 6 years down the road.
Yeah.
So you can't change someone, even a woman. For the most, we change on our own. We go through our own transformations, just like I think men. But a lot of times, I think a woman can fall in love with a man.
And the man's not there yet.
Correct. A man knows absolutely if he wants to be with you. And so if he is not talking about marriage or whatever, and y'all not having those serious conversations, sorry to tell you, boo-boo, it ain't it. And there's nothing wrong with it. You're going to cry. You're going to feel sad. And then you can get out there, once you're ready. But
Or
that's
you
really
can
it.
stick around past that time frame and continue to hope that something's going to change.
And
But unfortunately,
it won't.
when it doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have to kind of look back on yourself and be like,
I knew it, and
I'm here because of me.
Yeah, because trust and believe, I be thinking that stuff all the time. Like, all right, is this a sign? But I also overthink things. So it's like, I always have a battle within my head. I'm like, oh my God, am I overthinking this? Or am I treating it as in the past relationship? So it's a lot, I think, me personally, as an overthinker, that I go through. So I'm like, all right, well, is this the same type of thing that this person did? Or is it this? Or is it that? And then sometimes I just have to realize, take it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And as an overthinker, you really have to take it for what it is. Because otherwise you'll be stuck in a motherfucking situation or that whole thing for fucking ever.
Yeah.
So I've just learned that. Over the last, I'm going to say, couple months, I don't even know how long it's been. What, 6 months, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
6 months-ish. I've been going through that. Take it for what it is.
Yeah.
And it's going to hurt like a motherfucker, but you have to take that step. And the same thing I say every morning when I wake up, my little mantra, one step at a time, one day at a time, is what I say to get me out of bed. And then I put my foot on the floor and I'm like, yes, I made the step. I did the one step, Lord. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, really, I feel like all that is to say, like, stop making narratives in your head that don't exist in reality.
Correct. And stop falling in love with potential.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stop making excuses.
Yeah.
Potential is,
it's
and
an
the thing
excuse.
is, he could be a great man, but he is not the great man for you.
Great man versus great lover are two different things.
Yes, he could be everything on your goddamn list if you have one, but he may also not be the person for you. One thing I said the other day, I don't know if you watched it, when I was like, damn, I had a whole thing and it just literally went out my head. But the post that I shared about, oh my God, now I'm so upset. Like, it literally was there. It's y'all, it's me. I'm old. My brain, my brain just be going everywhere. You can't, oh my God, I'm so upset at myself now. You can't fall, what was I talking about? And I'll
Potential.
You can't, well, I did say you can't fall in love with potential. But you also have to see the red flags and listen to said red flags. And you also can't be upset at yourself for wanting better. And you can't let that person, whoever you're talking to, make you feel like you're wrong for wanting better. Because if they're not giving you what you need in that relationship, whatever ship it is, friendship, relationship, whatever, courtship, ships, whatever it is, if they're not giving it to you, there is someone else out there that is willing to do that without all that bullshit and stress. And that's something I had to realize. Like, I should not have to beg for time. I should not have to beg to whatever for sex. I should not have to beg for a conversation. I should not have to, and beg, I guess I'm using loosely, but I shouldn't have to be like, hey, can we meet up? Blah, blah, blah. Can we do this? Can we do that? Like, it should be a mutual thing if those are the things that I'm wanting. If that is my love language, you should know it because I've told you this. And if I'm saying, hey, I need this, and I'm giving you what you need, then I don't feel like what is the problem?
Right.
We should be on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I like that. Yeah, that's definitely, you shouldn't minimalize what you need for somebody else. No one should have to minimalize what they need for you.
Correct.
You should be able to meet each other.
Correct.
In the middle ground.
And if it ain't working, just let it go, because otherwise you're wasting years when you could have, dumped this person, or y'all had a mutual breakup, whatever it could be today, and then, maybe in 2 months you find the person that you meant to be with, but instead you're like, I'm gonna stick with them, and then 3 years down the line, you prolonged your lifelong partner for 3 goddamn years.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just gotta give it up. I'm only saying this because I've had to learn the goddamn lesson, and sometimes that should be on repeat. You hear me?
Yeah, that's definitely definitely a thing where you overstay your welcome in relationships, trying to see the potential, or thinking that you have the ability to sway somebody else. All humans have free will.
Correct.
And you have control over nobody else.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ooh, that was fun. We went through a whole bunch of shit there. Yeah. So, thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and tell everybody.
As always, life is tough, my dear, but so are
you. Woo, woo, woo. Yeah.
Oh, you took a different route that time.
I be practicing on something. No. And just remember that each of you are beautiful, and to never stay what?
Stagnant.
In your motherfucking life. Bye, Miss Guided Ho.
Bye, guys.